Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Breifne and you are listening to episode 153 on the channel. It is our first in focus of 2020. And we're going to start off with a bit of a Leitrim legend. One of the finest players ever to wear the green and gold jersey is Mickey Martin of St Mary's and Carrick and Shannon. Now, he has the most amazing career with his championship debut the same day as Packie McGarty retired his green and gold jersey. Mickey Martin took up the mantle, and for the next 20 years he was the foremost Leitrim footballer in the county. He represented Ireland in the first ever international rules series. He captained his club, then Sheemore Gaels, to the Senior Football Championship at just 18 years of age, and also was part of that Leitrim team to win that first ever under-21 Connacht Championship in 1977. He is, of course, Mickey Martin, and he joins me for a chat about his life and times growing up in Carrick and Shannon, playing with St Mary's, Leitrim, and everything else in between. I hope you enjoy this chat as much as I did actually sitting down with the great man himself for a conversation. Here's how our conversation went. Mickey, welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
It's great to have you on. I said we go back a long way. You were actually my first football manager back in the day. You didn't make anything of me, but I think that's more to do with me than your ability as a coach or a leader. In terms of you're obviously one of the big names when you look back at Leitrim teams over the last 120, 130 years. There's three or four names that come to mind, I suppose. Emlyn Mulligan of the last 10 years. Packie McGarty's name is always thrown into that conversation. Seamus Quinn of the 90s and noughties. But in that gap between Packie McGarty and Seamus Quinn, and you played with both of them in the green and gold of Leitrim, your name is the first name on any team sheet. Let's talk about you growing up in Carrick and Shannon and how big a role football played in your life.
Well, at that time, there wasn't the same level of sports. There wasn't as many clubs as there is now. The GA, the football and the hurling then. My next door neighbour at that time was Tommy O'Riordan. He had us out playing hurling every day. So we started then. The facilities weren't there. Park Sean was just opening up in 64. So we're on the roads most of the time, hitting ball and kicking ball just like everybody else. So that developed when Park Sean opened. We got a pitch in the Park Lane in Carrick here, and that was our home ground, our home base. That's where we were nearly every day, playing football, playing hurling, doing all the sporting things. As it says, there wasn't a soccer club, there wasn't a rugby club. The athletics were school-based athletics only. Well, there would have been a club there, but it wasn't like it is now. There wasn't any of the Tai Chis or any of those clubs, so you stuck with you'd only the football, and you only had the GA, and that was it. Now I'm going to be criticised for that, but there was a golf club and there was other clubs, but for us, that was it. That's what we played. And
well, the Gaelic would have been accessible. You just needed a football to play, really.
Yeah, it was. It was the only sport in town at the moment, at that time, and so that's where we spent our day at. Playing on the road, kicking a ball from all over the place.
In terms of a youngster growing up in their early teenage years, that ambition to win a county championship and wear the county jersey is something that they hope will come to them at some stage in their career. You didn't have to wait very long, because your first taste of, I suppose, probably adult football was captaining your club to a senior county title back in 1974 with an amalgamation of St Mary's and Kiltubbard known as Sheemore Gaels. 18 years of age, captain of the club. How does an 18-year-old become the captain of a club?
I don't know. There was Fina, Kiltubbard and Carrick. I think there was a meeting among the senior players. This is only my second season playing senior, so there's a meeting among the players, and whether they couldn't agree to nominate a captain, I just walked in the door and it says, "You be captain," so I was the captain.
I think you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice there.
I wasn't canvassing for the job, we put it that way. So no, I remember Paddy Guckin turning around to me and says, "You be captain," so I says, right. But I didn't know whether he was joking or not, and it stayed there. Paddy Guckin, he'd be Jimmy Guckin's father nowadays. So that's who was playing. I was playing with him then. He was the inter-county player at the time, and he he was the senior player in the dressing room then, so if he said something, he didn't say a lot now, to be honest, but when he did say something, you listened to him. So that's the way it was.
What do you remember of that year in terms of that campaign?
An amalgamation is if it works, it can be very good. If it doesn't, it just fades away. So when you amalgamate, you get the impression you're just there for the championship and champion alone. But it was quite good. We gelled together very well for 3 teams, and us being the county team or the main town. So I remember we played our first game. I think was down in Drumshanbo in the pitch, and we played Manor Hamilton, and we won that. And teams that picked up after that, so we went straight through, and it worked out very well in the end. It was quite good actually, but we beat Mohill in the final, which was great. But there was some very good players then, coming on it and that,
Would you have felt overawed at all going into the county final, captain, 18 years of age, still a minor footballer?
Well, I wouldn't have understood the whole process of it or the whole thing of it. So when you go into a game like that, you're just focusing on the game then, so you go in and play the game and get on with it. So not really, no, I wasn't.
I suppose you wouldn't have had social media. You barely had local radio even at the time. I think it was just the Leitrim Observer a couple of days later. But in terms of the extra attention that being the captain brought to you at that age, were you even aware of any of that?
No, I wouldn't have been. I think the senior team, the senior players on the team were more. I let it go with them really. I just got on with the game. That's all I was there for. So, no, I enjoyed it, and when we won it, I enjoyed it, and I was very happy about it. So. I'll always remember it, yeah. It was great occasion. We're
going to talk a little bit about 21 years later when you won your second county title, because it's amazing that it took that long for it to come round again. But still in the 70s, 3 years after that senior championship title with Sheemore Gaels, you're back to playing with St Mary's. St Mary's are back on their own, and you're still under 21, but you're playing and starring on that inter-county side that won Leitrim's first under 21 Connacht Championship medal. Talk us through that particular season.
Yeah, well, if you go back to the minor championships and that, we played Roscommon over in Galway in the Connacht semi-final then, and Roscommon beat us by a point. But Roscommon went on to win the Connacht Championship that year, so we kind of met them at under 16 at minor and under 21, because we met Roscommon in the under-21 final then again. So we were able to beat Galway and Mayo easy enough, to believe it or not, and Sligo. So there was only the 5 teams in it then, and there still is. So we played Galway in the semi-final in Carrick, and we beat them, So we won that. Then we played Roscommon, as it says, in the final. That was down in Sligo. If I remember, it was a bad, wet day, dull day, but we beat them by a point. I think it was a point. They beat us by a point in the minor championship, remember, but they were very successful. They were in the All-Ireland final, I think, the year before that, at under 21 level. So it was quite an achievement beating Roscommon then.
It would have been the first underage title that Leitrim had won at Connacht level. What did it mean at the time to you as a player? Were you aware of the significance of that competition? Because we've only won it once since.
Yeah, I would have been, because we're so annoyed at missing out. We should have done better at minor level, underage level, and we didn't. I was so annoyed at that. So when we played in the under-21, it was kind of a last chance to get something out of the underage. So that's what happened. The nucleus of the team stayed together, so we had a very good team. We had exceptional players then. Everybody talks about me and all that, but like Sean Layden was playing then and Frank Houlihan, they were exceptionally good players, and you had great players like that playing. So it was no fluke that we won it. We won it because we were the better team in Connacht.
You can't really say anything different about that. Let's move on to senior, and we're going to take a little step back in time, because you made the breakthrough at senior level long time before that under-21 success. You were playing for Leitrim, and the significance of your first game, you came on as a substitute in a championship game over Mayo, but it was to end in defeat, but it also was to end the career of the one Packie McGarty. So for that period was the only time you ever played on the same team together. How much of an influence was Packie on your career?
Well, Packie Packie lived in Dublin, as you know, so that time training wouldn't be as often as it is now, or that it wouldn't be as professional as it is now. So the Dublin-based players would train in Dublin, and we'd be training down here. I think it was in Ballinamore at the time we used to train. It was Packie's last game, and it was my first game. I came on as a sub. It was against Mayo. It was in Carrick here. It wasn't away. It wasn't in Mayo. And we were actually hammered, and I think Packie had enough of it, and he got out of it after that game. So I says, sure, I'll keep going and see how far it goes. So we had underage players, and we thought we could build it a bit stronger, but you need consistent underage teams. Not one underage team will do it. You need a few of them to lift the level overall. So that was our biggest sort of problem. We hadn't enough players coming in behind us again then at underage level, so that was a bit of a drawback.
What was it like playing for Leitrim through the late 70s and pretty much the whole of the 80s when, let's be honest, there wasn't a whole pile of success in the county jersey at that stage?
Well, there wasn't, but see, it's different. People forget the game then. To win a Connacht Championship, you only need to win 2 games. It's not like now, you hadn't a backdoor system as you have now, so if you're knocked out, you're gone. So you could only play 1 championship in a year and you were gone. So if you could get a draw, or if you could get a handy draw that you think you could lift your game and get into a Connacht final, but I never got into a Connacht final, but that was always the target. It was possible, and it's just never achieved. We had a few close runs in again with Roscommon, with Galway and with Mayo. And I remember we beat Mayo in the Senior Championship, and we were made play the following Sunday against Galway. I know it was in Carrick, but geez, that was too much for us, I think. Just 1 week after the other. We had 3 weeks in a row. We played Mayo twice. We drew with them in Mayo. We beat them in the replay, and then we had Galway to play the next Sunday. So Galway beat us convincingly enough. I think that was the nearest we came to getting into a Connacht final at that time.
It's funny because nowadays, if you said we played Galway, Mayo 3 times in a week, in a month even, that you'd be delighted to get a draw and a victory in 2 of those 3 games. It's a different kind of kettle of fish now. How do you see it in terms of where Leitrim lie in the grand scheme of things in the present day?
The present day, getting out of Division 4 was quite good. They're going to be playing a higher level of football now. Mistakes will be punished quicker, but at the same time, any of the teams that are in that division, there's quite a few of them, there's 4 or 5 of them that are beatable, so it's really up to the mentality of the team. If they want to do it, I think it's more mental than anything else. So. You
mentioned you never played in a Connacht final, but you did represent Ireland. The first ever compromise rules game that took place, or international rules as it's called now, took place I think in 1984, and you were selected on the Irish team. Talk us through that honour and how it felt to be selected on that Ireland team and to be eventually crowned one of the best players in the series.
After the championship, you're knocked out. Peter McDermott was the manager. He's the Meath man, and he picked a random selection of players. I think there was about 40 players picked or something like that. So we were brought away for a weekend over to Galway to train and see how we got on with each other. So he brought down the players. I think it was down to 25 or 26 players then, and I was on that. So we played Australia. We had 3 games against Australia, 1 in Cork and 2 were in Dublin. And the first one, Australia won it down in Cork. So we played against Australia in Croke Park, and we won that one. So it went to the 3rd series. So I started from the beginning of the 3rd series, and Australia won the 3rd series. But it was good, it was enjoyable, it was great to be playing with players that you think you'd never be playing with, because it was my outlet, a bit of glory or that. But other players are there all the time from the bigger counties, the Dublins and the Meads and the Kerrys at the time were the top teams in the country then, So we were able to play with them and play to that level that they were able to play with quite easily, so I wasn't fazed by it.
As well as the international aspect, of course, the Connacht team in the Railway Cup, which doesn't really get much profile anymore. It's the interprovincial series now. It's kind of played at the back end of whenever. it was a bigger deal back in those days, or did you enjoy playing for Connacht?
I did, yeah. I think I was in 5 finals with Connacht and lost every one of them, so that'll tell you. We used to win the semi-finals quite easy. We never played well then in a final for some reason. I think the Mayo players put a jinx on us in finals or something, I don't know.
The curse was spread to Connacht, not just the...
No, I actually enjoyed it because we got, again, into provincial. I used to like it in the end. I had mixed feelings for it, but it is good. It was a good competition, but I think it's gone now, and it's not going to be coming back anytime soon.
Do you miss that aspect of, not that it affects you directly, but do you think that players today miss that opportunity of getting that chance to play at a higher level, particularly for, say, a one-off player like yourself from Leitrim or Wicklow or Fermanagh, who might not get that opportunity to grace the big stage?
For us players at that stage, you always look forward to something like that, international level or interprovincial level. It was great because it was our chance of getting something new, getting to new heights and playing a different brand of football. It was good, so I enjoyed it. I always did, so I always look forward to it.
Now, we talked about the 70s and 80s, but the 90s, you were still playing county football 18 years after you made your debut in that championship game against Mayo. In terms of how county football finished for you, finished just as, I suppose, the PJ Carroll and John O'Mahony era was beginning. What are your memories from that time?
I was in America then when PJ Carroll started, so I was coming home. I was coming home from the States, so Leitrim were going well at the time in the leagues and that. So I was asked would I come back and play, and I says I would. So I came back and played, and the team had changed all right. There was a different atmosphere. There was a more winning atmosphere in the team. They weren't afraid to take on a team, so it was quite good then. But I was coming to an end. I was picking up a lot of injuries, so I was coming to the end of my career and I knew it. But we won the All-Ireland B final then against Sligo, but that's about it. When that was over, I think I was more or less gone at this stage. I wasn't enjoying the football, or I wasn't preparing properly, so I just got out. I was getting too many injuries anyway, so really at that stage, so I left.
Are there any regrets when you look back at, say, what happened in '94, that you weren't still involved in the squad at that stage?
You would be, of course, but I knew all the players then because I was only after leaving the team 2 years previous. And it was good. I was actually back in America then when that Connacht Final was on, and I was looking at 10 o'clock in the morning over in Boston. So I was enjoying that, and we were in a bar then at that time. We could only drink coffee, so so that was quite good. So it was a great to watch and great to see them winning, and it was very good. I enjoyed it.
Could you see that coming in those last few years of your own county career?
I don't think I could, because all the main players that I grew up with, or I was playing with they were all finishing up, or finished. So I think I was next in line to go, so that was it,
You weren't to be completely disappointed though on the Connacht front, and that was with your own club. And we talked about 77 or 74 with Sheemore Gaels. St Mary's eventually broke that duck on winning a county championship in '95. What happened that year that it just all came together for St Mary's? '95,
we had a good. Again, there was younger players coming up, and we had there was a great spirit in the team then. It was very good. We used to do training. We trained the usual nights, and we always had training on Saturday mornings. So the spirit of the team lifted up. It was quite good, and we enjoyed it, and we got on with it. And then when we won the Leitrim Championship, we says, now we may as well give Connacht a shot, and that was the idea behind it, because Ahowillan previous to that and Ballinamore, they were in Connacht Finals, but they didn't win it, so there was a chance there to be the first Leitrim team to win a Connacht Championship. So we took that seriously, and we had some good wins against Sligo champions and Roscommon champions, Connacht Gael then, they were in All-Ireland Finals, so that put us in a great frame of mind for the game against Corofin over in Corofin's own backyard. And it didn't work out there. It was a bit disappointing, but we should have come back another year And if we came back the following year after that, I believe we could have beaten Corofin. Corofin were winning the All-Ireland then, so we weren't that far off them. So I believe that if we got another shot at Corofin in Carrick, we could have beaten them. Or in a home ground, county pitch.
Any regrets about leaving that behind you?
You don't have regrets. You go out and give it your best shot, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You have to put up with it. It's no good crying over it. But no, sure, if you're feeling regretful about all the games, I'd be very regretful altogether. So, yeah.
I think most Leitrim footballers over the years probably would have to share with that. In terms of moving on then from playing, you obviously took up the reins of Carrick on a couple of occasions. What are your memories of being on the sideline and coaching the club?
It's completely different for a change. You have 20, 25 players to look after instead of just one. The attitude that you had mightn't be the attitude a lot of the players. You're always going to get, after 15 first team players, you'll get 12 or 13 of them. If you can get that many on board, you're doing well, But club football is different, and if the players believe they're going to win it, they will train and do that. And that was what you were trying to do. But I think I looked at things differently than they did, so it wasn't going to work out, and it didn't work out. So
it's funny because my first experience of meeting you would have been I transferred to St Mary's in 1999, and you were the first team manager, and you had us. Now I wasn't on the senior panel, but I was training with the adult teams, and you had us in the gym on a Sunday morning and out running around Lough Key doing 5Ks and 10Ks of a Sunday morning, and I don't think people quite grasped it. But it's funny, the things you were doing 20 years ago and maybe didn't go down so well in the club are the things that every club now almost take for granted, doing those extra bits on your own, out and running the roads or in the gym now, strength and conditioning, and they're almost, if you're not doing it, you're behind the ball now, whereas you were way ahead of your time. Do you think maybe if you had been given more time that you might have been that revolutionary idea in the game here in the county?
To be at that, you have to bring not alone the players on board, you must bring the club with you as well, the club officers and that. They have to agree to the way you're doing things. And if you're doing things a little bit differently than they agreed, then that can cause a bit of trouble or that, or they mightn't just like it or that. But I don't know why they did, but it's true, we had them out in the Forest Park running that distance, and we had them in the gym. We used to have good workouts in the gym. They were quite enjoyed that, but that was then. And then you had the football. You had to get the football into them as well. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed where I was going, but I was kind of looking at it different than the others. I was hoping the players would take more responsibility on that, Some did, some didn't. So I couldn't fix that. There's a little gap there, and I couldn't fix it. So I only stayed there very temporary, and I left.
You did come back later on, and as a member of the management team, you won a county championship. What was it like winning a third county championship, this time on the sideline?
I was with Matt Gaffey and Kieran Reynolds, and we got together. And Carrick were in this final the year before, and it didn't work out, so they rearranged, and so I came on board for the second series. And Matt is a very good coach, very good teacher, and he was great because he'd be the link that I would have needed to talk to the players and all that. He had a better way because he's from a teaching background, he had a better way with people and that. So that helped me out too. I could see things the way he was doing it. So we won the championship that year, and we won the league. I think it was the first time Carrick done the league and championship, so that was good. But we were hoping to go a bit further in the Connacht Championship, and we were beaten by the Sligo champions actually, beaten quite easily. So it was a bit of a surprise. So we had to say, will we get together next year and give it a decent shot, a better shot? So we said we'd stay on, but it didn't work out. So no, I was very happy with that. That was a great experience. We had a good time. We played a good few challenge matches and that too. We were playing against different counties, which is great for sharpening up players. You're not playing against the same teams all the time. So that was quite good. So we won the championship in the league, and it was quite good. It was quite good for the club. And I think success came after that then. They won a few more titles after that. When you get a taste of it, it's quite nice, so that's why. But I think we left a few games behind us too after that, so we shouldn't have.
In terms of your sporting career, it wasn't all Gaelic football for you, even though that's what most people will remember you as. You also played a bit of soccer. I know I've seen your photograph in Carrick Town shots, but also with Athlone Town. Did you play League of Ireland?
I played, it was the end of the season at Athlone. I was playing with Carrick at the time, or we were playing schools football. There was a soccer team in the school then. Athlone asked if we'd go down for a few games, so I went down in the season games. Played Shelburne and I think St. Pat's and that. Played Dundalk, over in Dundalk. It was quite interesting because Tony McManus from Roscommon was on the same team as me, and JJ Costello was the Mayo goalkeeper, so we knew each other going out in the field as Gaelic players, and we had to play soccer. So that was interesting. So it was good. I enjoyed it. But I don't know. I didn't give it enough time, I suppose. Didn't get enough, because Athlone were changing managers then, and the new manager came in then and cleared everybody out, so he didn't even see us playing, so I didn't know what was going on. No, I played a bit of rugby as well, and I played, I've underage sprint records with sprint with Carrick, the schools team, who won the under 12s and under 14 sprint, 100 metres and 200 metres, and we have Connacht medals as well, so we won the Connacht on underage sprinting and that, so athletics was quite good. I used to like the athletics. It was a one-off. You're on your own. Whatever you done, you got out of it, you know. So when you're playing in a team game, you're hoping that the other guys is coming along with you too, you know. So that's the difference.
Looking back, are there any regrets that maybe you didn't go down that route of an individual pursuit I keep asking about regrets. I don't mean to, but it's just the way the conversation has flown. Was there any thought maybe that if had you gone down the athletics route that maybe an Olympics might have been a possibility?
I wouldn't be not at sprinting unless you did middle distance running or something. I'd be fast enough, all right, but I wouldn't be fast enough for that standard. No way. I'd be way behind. I was too short for a start. When you're running at that level, you have to be fairly fast now and fairly tall, you know. It's a different level.
Well, listen, Mickey, thank you so much for coming in and having a chat with us. Congratulations on your inductee-ship. I don't know what the word is. Your acceptance into the Hall of Fame at the Leitrim Sports Awards this year. It's been long overdue. And thank you for all the enjoyment that you've given everybody from the county over the last 40 or 50 years. It's been great watching your career. I know I only got the tail end of it with club and county, but to most people listening to this, they would have watched you in the green and gold over the years, and to all that success. Thank you so much.
Okay, Breifne, thank you. Bye.
And so that, folks, is all we have time for today. A massive thank you to Mickey Martin for coming in and having a chat with us. Sincerest apologies about it going out a little bit later than planned, but of course, as they say, better later than never. Thank you so much to you for listening, and don't forget, we will be back again next week with another look at a Leitrim personality, and tomorrow with our What's On event guide. Talk to you then.